senior BMSs here in blood transfusion at Sherwood Forest Hospitals. We serve the entire North Nottinghamshire region, primarily here at Kingsmill, but over at Newark Hospital as well, and a few other private sites. We process approximately 3,500 samples a month, which might not sound like a lot, it's a little over 100 a day. When you compare that to a blood sciences lab that might have several thousand, but with the strict criteria that we have for our sample labelling and the high manual input that we have on a lot of our testing, it's enough to keep us busy more often than not. Samples comes in for what we call a group and save. So a blood group is performed as well as an antibody screen that's looking for weird and wonderful antibodies that might be floating around in the patient's circulation. Now that can be performed one of many ways. The vast majority are done on our analyzers. All the work that this does can be replicated manually, or it could even be performed in tubes. So for anything that the analyzer can't figure out by itself, if there are any discrepancies or weird and wonderfuls, all further work is performed manually by IBMS. That might be to identify antibodies, to do red cell phenotyping, apply power testing, for example, with a bit of microscopy, and anything that's a lot more complex might get referred to a referral centre. A blood bank is nothing without its blood supply, which is obviously donated by generous donors from across the country for free. All we ask is for a bit of their time. This is our blood supply, which is deemed a medium-sized supply for a hospital of our size. It's not a lot, but it's enough to keep us going. For example, we might only hold 10 units of O negative, which is the type that we really want to be using in emergency situations, but when we might be giving those out 4 bags of blood at a time, then it might not last forever. We do try to restrict the amount that we give out as best we can, obviously without implicating patient care, but blood is a precious supply. It's donated, as I said, on somebody's best wishes, and we don't want to be wasting that. It's not just red blood cells that we keep, we do also keep other specialist products or plasma products as well, such as platelets, or in this instance, frozen plasma cryoprecipitated. Red cells might only be good for 35 days from donation, and in some specialist products they could only be good for 24 hours, whereas our frozen products from production might last for several years before expiry. Now, all of this is nothing if we don't consider the fact that we're here to issue blood to patients in a timely and safe manner. It might be for an anemia, where a patient needs a slight bit of top-up, or it might be a case of a massive hemorrhage where actually they need a large number of blood products in a small time. We can have units of red cells ready in the case of a couple of minutes in an emergency, but where more complex patients exist with antibodies, it could take 45 minutes to an hour, or if it needs to go to a referral centre, it could be several days. Every case is tailored to the patient's needs, and their safety is at the forefront of every single issue that we do. We issue approximately 7,000 units a year. That's not to say that they're all used, some are returned and given out to other patients. Working in a blood bank can mean working in pressured scenarios or where time is critical, but in the end it can actually bring a lot of rewards. You tend to remember all the patients that you've had great difficulty with or have been complicated over the years, and occasionally you do hear good stories coming back out of it. I particularly remember a teenager I had many years ago who came in with a particular condition, had a massive hemorrhage, and having provided all their blood products, Years later, I saw them in the national newspaper as an ambassador for the condition with which they were admitted, thanking all the medical staff and lab staff who made their life possible. And hearing things like that does make